First is go through this quick little PowerPoint, get some ground rules for how we're going to do this today, and then call the calendar. So, all right, so this is the Spalding County State Court. My name is Josh Thacker. I am your judge, and this is the probation and non-jury calendar. I want to start out by saying that here in the Spalding County State Court, we believe that each of you, as you interact with this court, deserve the respect and the dignity that you wish for someone to care about. We will extend that to each and every one of you as we interact with you all here today. Hey, please don't talk during court. Our goal is to move your case forward promptly, return you back to your lives, and I will not have much patience with folks disrupting court. We're supposed to have 2 people virtual, but so far I have no people virtual, so we'll see how that goes. Cell phones. So everybody take a minute, grab your phone out of your pockets and purses and go ahead and turn it off. Every day somebody's phone rings, and every day it means someone ignored these instructions. So please go ahead and do that. Lots of movement out there. Thank you all. All right, so this is the correct courtroom if you're here on probation with the Spalding County State Court, and you're supervised by the Spalding County Sentence Enforcement Team, or you have some other motion that needs me to hear. So that today there's some motions to revoke bond, modify bond, etc. Or you have a bench warrant from a previous court date and you're walking in to address that bench warrant. This is not the correct courtroom for you if you received a citation from the City of Griffin Police Department and you're supposed to be down in the City of Griffin Municipal Court. Is there anyone here who's here for a citation that they received from the City of Griffin? Talk to the bailiffs out in the hallway. If you're supposed to be here, they'll bring you back in. But if not, we will vouch for you that you were on time to the wrong place. So,
Wayne, if he his name, that way I can send it to Melissa if he has to go on.
All right, or you are supposed to be in Superior Court. I don't think that's an issue. I think it's just the
It's
trial.
just a jury trial, that's
Okay.
all.
All right, that's good. We'll take that. All right, so I'm about to call the calendar. When you hear your name called, stand up if you are able. If you have an attorney, which I have several here, once you've stood up, remain silent, let them announce for you. If you do not have an attorney, then you're going to stand up and announce either probation or a bench warrant walk-in or a license permit or some sort of motion. You can just say motion, and that's it. Okay, everybody ready? Here we go. Marco Duringham. All right, so I was already informed prior to the call that Mr. Duringham is not present and will not be present. I've already released the Public Defender's Office on, not released them from that case, but I think that's the only thing they were here on. So I'm going to issue a warrant for Mr. Duringham. Is that the state's request? Okay, all right, then Mr. Duringham was noticed to be here properly. He is not here, and there I'm issuing a warrant for his arrest. All right. Finister, is it Sheila? Finister?
Yeah.
You're here? Okay. Thank you.
It's a pre-trial judge.
Well, thank you for that. How do you say your first name? Names are important.
Tajula.
Tajula. Okay. Names are important. I'll get it right. So. All right. Jamal Foster. Jamal Foster. No?
We request a bench warrant.
Good.
That's a probation matter.
Oh, a probation warrant. That's right. You can just say warrant and we'll sort it out. So, it's a warrant. All right, Foster's warrants issued, probation's told. All right, Mr. McCullough, over to you. Renata, Germany. Motion to modify bond. I assume you need to speak with Mr. Shepherd?
Yeah, that's correct. I believe that's the next step that we have.
Perfect. All right, if you'll just sit tight. Like I said, Mr. Shepherd should be here in-ish. So, he did not get the memo that he's not allowed to have a life outside of the office. All right, Goggins, Sheriff's Mr. Hart.
Yeah, he's here, Judge. We need to speak to Mr. Shepherd.
Okay. Sounds good. If I didn't keep them all so busy, Miss Tony would have had time to talk to Mr. Shepherd, but that's on me. I keep him in here way more than I should. So, all right, y'all talk and let me know. Is that a motion, I guess?
It's a motion to revoke bond.
Okay. He's here.
Yes, he's here.
Thank you. Okay, Betty and Jenkins.
Here for action.
All right, is that just a show cause hearing?
That's correct, yes, sir.
That sounds fine. All right, thank you very much. All right, top of page 3, Naoshi Ragland.
Motion.
All right, thank you. All right, Carl, Mr. McCord, you're here with Carl Ray.
I am, Judge, and because Mr. Shepherd's living a high life and you keep everybody so busy, we're just gonna have to wait.
All right, y'all sit tight. He's at the Donuts for Dad's Day, so, or however they're doing it. All right, Brian Terrell. Terrell? No? And I'm just gonna check okay, there's nobody virtual, so,
We request a probation warrant.
granted.
Just for the record, that's a pretrial.
All right, the warrants issued, pre-trial's told. Nydia Vaughn? Vaughn, good morning.
Probation.
Thank you
It's
very much.
Nadia.
Ma'am?
It's Nadia.
Nadia, thank you. Names are important, and I'm really bad at them, so. All right, so, let's go ahead and walk through what we can do. Let me go ahead and, work our way through these hearings. I feel very comfortable with this. All right. All right, Ms. Minister, if you will come on up. Oh, yeah, thank you. That's fine, appreciate it. All right, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna swear Director Matthews in, one time for all testimony being given today, so if you'll excuse me just a quick second. I'll move. Director Matthews, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that all testimony you will give today on all matters shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, state your full name for me.
Marty Matthews.
All right, so Director Matthews is sworn in. I will not be swearing her again on any matters for the rest of the day. All right, if you'll please raise your right hand, ma'am. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, if you'll take your head down and state your name for me.
Hydra Finister.
All right, and Ms. Finister, you are here today because you are participating in our pretrial intervention program, and your sentence enforcement supervisor has filed paperwork with the clerk alleging that you're out of compliance with that agreement. Do you understand what you're doing here today?
Yes.
Okay. Let me finish my part, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, okay? So as far as today goes, two things are happening at the same time, and I want to make sure you're aware of it. One is, we're having this hearing to determine whether or not you're out of compliance with your agreement. That's the question on the table that I'm here to answer. I may say yes, I may say no, I don't know yet. The second part I need you to know is that these terms became a part of your bond conditions when you signed the agreement. And so if I determine that you violate them, I will also be making a secondary decision as to what, if anything, should happen to your bond. So those are the two sets of decisions I'll be making today. Does that make sense to you?
Sort of.
Okay. Is there any questions I can answer for you about anything to help you understand what we're doing here better?
Well, I probably got the money to pay, but at that time I didn't.
Hold that thought. So we will talk about all of that in just a minute. So you're on the right path. You're just ahead of me. So what I need to know now is just, do you understand what we're doing here? Why we're here? Does that make,
Cause I think I missed probation.
that's the allegation, and I'm here to decide if that's true or not. Does that help?
Okay.
All right, so what we'll do here is, I'm gonna, have Director Matthews read out what the allegations are. And then I'm also gonna have her read out what the state's recommendation is on your case. And then you and I will talk about it, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Judge, on 22 SR 0514, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of the pretrial program in the following. The defendants failed to report to probation as directed, having never reported. The defendants failed to pay the court fine and fees as ordered, or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, having never made a payment. The defendants failed to complete community service hours as directed, having turned in 0 of 20 court-ordered hours. The recommendation on this case is for her to report as directed, payments of $115 bi-weekly, community service at 8 hours a week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation. Her restitution of $1,407.76 would be due to the clerk's office by April the 20th of 2024. Her next report date would be in person on March 13th of 2024 between the hours of 1 and 5.
Okay, so, so let's just move through here real slow and make sure that you and I are on the same page. So the allegations, as she's read them out, do you admit to those, or do you deny those, or a mixture of both?
Both, I guess. I know I can do community service because I was looking for a job at the time, so. And when I started a job, so I wasn't able to do community service.
Okay. So, so I'm hearing you say that you worked too many hours to do community service work, is that correct?
Yeah, I work in the morning.
How many hours a week were you working?
At the time, I was working 3 hours in the morning, and then I was doing like 8 hours in the evening.
Okay. You working 2 jobs?
Yeah, at the time, when I first got on probation, I was doing the 3 hours, 3 days a week, bi-weekly, and child support was getting that. But I had to find another job so I can make some more money to pay this.
Okay.
So that's what was going on in my life.
All right, well, so here's how I'm trying to frame up. So number one, hear us say, all we want you to do is successfully complete the program. That's all we want. But right now, you didn't report and you haven't, I'm hearing you say you didn't report because you were working. Did I hear that correctly? Yes?
Yes.
You nodded your head, yes. Okay, well, what I'm hearing is that you weren't able to participate in the program, but I need you to hear me say that you told me that you would when you signed the agreement. And so you really don't have a lot of options here. I either need you to participate in the program or I've got to remove you from the program. And if I remove you from the program, then I'm very likely going to revoke your bond and put you in the jail. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand I don't want to do that? Okay. She nodded her head yes. Okay, well then I'm going to follow the recommendation. I think it's kind of your big last chance to get this lined up. But I need you to hear me say, I'm not asking you to do anything extra. I'm simply asking you to do what you promised me you would do. And in return, I'm promising to give you a clean criminal history for this charge. But if you don't do it, I'm going to put you in the jail. Do you understand that? Okay, because these are the bond conditions you agreed to follow. And according to your own admissions just now, you're not following those bond conditions. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me about what we just changed about what you're doing?
Okay. I don't have any questions. So if I pay, I can, how can I work out the community service for the court fee?
If you will go talk to your probation officer, the Sentence Enforcement Officer on the 13th, they will explore those options with you. So the short answer is, I'm very confident you can find a pathway through here other than the restitution, that doesn't require you to take cash out of your pocket. So, but you have to pay the restitution. You told me you would, and I'm gonna require you to do that. Do you understand that? Okay. All right, and I need to remind you that your case is a terminate upon completion. So the moment you get everything finished, you're done with me. So this is about to get really easy for you or really difficult, and you're gonna decide which way it goes. Do you understand that? Okay.
Understand?
If you'll please step out that way, outside those doors, and wait for the bailiffs, out yeah, that way. And then step outside and, with Mr. Taylor. All right, go ahead, Ms.
Faye Jenkins.
Okay, this is a show cause hearing on Ms. Jenkins. Ms. Jenkins, please raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, take your hand down and state your full name for me.
Betty Ann Jenkins.
Ms. Jenkins, you're here today because I've scheduled you for what's called a show cause hearing. It means that it's time for me to look at your case and decide whether to continue you on probation or to release you from probation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hear from Director Matthews, who's been previously sworn, hear a little bit about your case, where you're at, then I'll hear from you, and then I'll make a decision.
Yes, sir.
Director Matthews, the floor is yours.
Judge, on 21 SR 1668, this is a 48-month case. It was ordered no early termination. She had to complete DUI school. That condition is complete. She has a no contact with Melissa Roberts and Dr. Robert Hull. She's ordered to take her medication as prescribed, and she was ordered to surrender her driver's license. There have been no revocations on this case in the 730 days she's been on active probation. She has paid her court fines in full on this case. She is currently just paying her probation fees each month. There is a consecutive case, 21 SR 1669, that is currently ordered as a 36-month no early termination. The charges on this case were aggressive driving, failure to maintain lane, no insurance, and reckless driving.
Okay. All right, Ms. Jenkins, what do you want me to know?
She is correct on that, sir, and I wanted to know, in 2 days, I'm supposed to contact the court about getting my license back. If probation is terminated, can I have my license reinstated? Or is that asking too much?
Judge, she's referring to, she came before you on a modification hearing previously, and you told her that she had to wait 2 years before she could petition the courts again. So that's the deadline that she's referring to there.
Got it, okay. So the short answer is that what today is about is whether or not to continue your supervision.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, one of those conditions of probation is not to get a license. And so as far as today goes, today is very, very, very narrow.
Okay.
It's just whether or not to keep an eye on you, which I'm gonna do. So it's gonna continue. As far as releasing you from being able to get your license back, that's a separate hearing.
Okay.
That you'll need to ask me to have. And you'll need to do things like bring in a suspension detail report to show me what's been going on with your license other than my order for surrender. I wanna know if there's any other suspensions out there holding on to it. Do you need to sign this or something?
No, sir.
Just need to get back to you.
Yes, sir.
And so you need to file, if you want that, you need to file your motion and come back and see me on Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. So,
Okay. Yes, sir.
So what I'll do, Erica, is when she wants to do that, I'm just gonna send her down to y'all to do the, I know it's not quite right, but it's the waiver form, the ignition interlock form. So it's not quite the right form, but it'll fit our purposes. So when you're ready to go do that, just go talk to the clerk's office and ask them for the permit hearing form. And they'll fill it out, and that gives you instructions on what I want you to do. And I'm not
Okay.
telling you I'll grant it, but I'm telling you.
Yes, sir, I
I'm
understand.
telling you that's the only way I'll even consider it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you have any questions for me?
I don't know the answer. Am I still on probation?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes, sir.
Because if I do that, if I cancel your probation, then then I lose control over whether you get your license back, and I'm not ready to do that.
Oh, okay, yes, sir.
And I also have some victims that are being, that are on here as well. So, short answer is I'm gonna keep you on a little bit longer. We're gonna keep talking.
Okay, yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Feel free to
you.
Go see the clerk. You can actually go see the clerk on the way out the door if you want, and go ahead and fill that out.
Okay,
Just tomorrow,
Yes,
2
sir.
days from the deadline, so. All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
Continue supervision.
Nadia Vaughn.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand for you. Hello. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
All right, take your hand down, state your full name for me.
Nadia Vaughn.
All right, Ms. Vaughn, you're here on 22 SR 0041 because your sentence enforcement supervisor has filed paperwork with the clerk alleging that you are out of compliance with your probation. Do you understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have the right to have an attorney represent you,
Yes, sir.
and you're here representing yourself?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Okay. You understand that, let's see. It's a technical, so it's failed to pay the fees and then failed to do community service work. Is that correct? It's just
Yes, sir.
technicals? Okay.
That's correct.
All right, well, I'm gonna find that, even if you asked me for the public defender's office with 2 minor technicals, I would not appoint the public defender's office on a case such as this. You do have the right to have an attorney, but at the same time, we're here now. This needs to be resolved. I don't have a lot of time left. The clock is ticking. And so I'm gonna go ahead and resolve this, now. I'm not anticipating this case ending with you leaving in handcuffs. So, we're just gonna give you a nudge, get you back on track if it turns out that you violated your probation. So-
Okay, I heard handcuffs and my mind was.
No, I said not handcuffs, no
Okay.
handcuffs. All right, good.
Judge, on 22 SR 0041, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendants failed to pay the court fees as ordered or request a waiver, being in arrears $230 as of the date the petition was drafted. The defendants failed to complete community service hours as directed, having turned in 28 of 57 converted hours. The recommendation on this case is to report to probation weekly until the case terminates. Payments of $65 weekly. Community service at 8 hours per week. The next report date would be in person on March the 13th between the hours of 1 and 5. 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation.
All right, so 2 questions. Do you admit to those 2 violations?
Yes.
And is that recommendation acceptable?
Yes, sir. I just can't go every week because I work with kids. So I try to at least come at least 2 weeks out of the time
Okay.
year.
Well, it's basically the way this works is once you get your case back on track and back in full compliance, then they will usually work with you
Okay.
on your reporting. But right now, because you're out of compliance and I don't have much time left, it is weekly. But I'm just letting you know that, how about this? You're a terminate upon completion, which means the moment you've done everything you're supposed to do, your case will close. And so I'm just letting you know that if you just will put your absolute best efforts into this, we'll close your case and you can put me in your rearview mirror and I'll just see you around at Walmart and you can tell me hi.
I hate Walmart.
Well, I was there yesterday and it's not my favorite place either, but a couple of my probationers said hello to me. So, anyway, but my point is that we all want to see you successfully close this. So, just put your best effort into this and you'll find that we'll work with you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You can step out that way and the bail will send you signing paperwork. Okay, so that concludes the probation side.
Nope.
And,
Oh,
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Why were you late to court?
I forgot today was the 7th. I thought it was tomorrow. I was at work.
All right, I appreciate your candor. Mr. Foster, you're here on 23 SR 0580 again. Called your case earlier. You were not here. Issued a warrant for your arrest. You're here today because your sentence enforcement supervisors filed paperwork alleging that you're out of compliance with your probation. You understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay. You ready to go forward?
Yes, sir.
Did I give you that? Okay. Floor's yours.
Judge, on 23 SR 0580, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendant failed to avoid violating the criminal laws of any governmental unit as ordered. To wit, the defendant was arrested for the offense of driving while license was suspended on or about January the 23rd, 2024, in or around Spalding County, Georgia. The recommendation on this case is 2 weekends in jail, to report to probation as directed, payments of $155 bi-weekly, 0 tolerance for 120 days. Substance abuse evaluation would be due by March the 27th, 2024. His next report date would be in person on March 13th of 2024 between 1 and 5.
This or did you have get his license? Or is that already on it?
That's already a condition of your original sentence?
Okay, 2 questions, Mr. Foster. Do you admit to the violation?
I have a question about it.
All right, go ahead.
I was just getting off of work and my grandmother just had a stroke and my mom hurt her leg. So they wasn't answering the phone and I was going over there to check on her.
Yes,
So
that's the only
I
reason
have-
you're not in jail. Yes.
And I had a work permit and the officer said, oh no, you don't, it's suspended. But then he goes to his car check and then go back and was like, oh yeah, you do. So is that,
I'm already familiar with your case,
okay,
and you have new charges, which means you normally have handcuffs, and you're normally in the jail. And I normally leave you out there a little while.
yes sir,
You're getting to walk in because there are questions about this that I'm willing to look into.
yes sir.
But you rewarded that by being late today, so you just know, like,
I'm
I'm already like a level 8 with you.
Yes sir.
So I'm gonna take his explanation that he drove as an admission because he's admitted to driving. I just want him to fix this, and I want you to stop coming in front of me for stuff like this. Okay?
Yes sir.
I want you to get your life back in order, and I want you to just see me around town. I just want you to tell me that you got your license, job is good, your family's good. I am sorry about the trouble your family's having.
Yes sir.
That does sound very stressful, but it doesn't give you permission to drive.
Yes sir.
So, okay, I'm gonna follow the recommendation. And I'm gonna add the community service work for being late. So I'm adding 8 hours of community service work to the recommendation for being late. So next time, so you'll spend 8 hours thinking about how you should have checked your calendar more closely.
Yes sir.
And you will be on time next time, because apparently you're coming to see me about these charges, is that correct?
Yes sir.
I strongly recommend that when you come back to see me, you have your license fixed.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Yes sir.
Okay.
And will y'all give me a date to when I fix them
I
or,
don't think we've,
cause I know it was March something.
let's look it up. So this is Mr. Foster. Jamal Foster. How do you say your middle name?
Oh, can you lay?
Ken?
Oh, can you lay?
And is there an apostrophe at the end of it?
Over the E. The last
Over the
E.
E. Don't show it. It might have gone to the solicitor's office.
Shepherd's here.
It may be municipal as well, Judge, he himself admitted, so that's.
Yeah, oh yeah, you filled me in on this one. I said it. Okay. So, was it the city of Griffin that gave you the?
Yes sir.
Okay, it's not my case. So, what I want you to do when you leave here, after you signed all.
Are
your
you talking
papers,
about for the suspended
the
license?
new charge?
Okay.
Was that was the city of Griffin?
Yes sir.
Yeah, it doesn't come to me. You can bind it up to me, but I'm not telling you to do that. They do a good job down there. So, so go, when you leave here, after you signed all your paperwork, go across to their office, which is just the next building over. Okay. Oh, yeah, don't go today.
Okay.
Go tomorrow
Okay.
and ask them when your court date is.
Yes, sir.
So, because if you end up with a warrant on that one, I'm gonna respond here as well, so don't do that.
Yes, sir.
All right, listen, go get this fixed, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, that takes care of him. All right, what I'm gonna do is, Mr. Shepherd is here and had his pastries with the parents. So, I'm going to put us in recess, until y'all knock on my door and let me know.
Okay.
We finished everything but the couple of conferences that y'all need to have, so I think we're in a good spot.
Thank y'all for holding it for me.
Oh, yeah, like I said, you didn't get the memo that we aren't supposed to have lives outside of here, so I just gotta deal with it, I guess. So, anyway, all right, that's it. Thank you very much. We're in recess until y'all knock on my door.
All right, thank you.
each haven't done it. Okay. Lead choice. All right, Mr. Ragland, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, take your hand down, state your full name for me.
Miasha Ragland.
Ms. Ragland, you are here today on 22 SR 1743 because you have filed paperwork with the clerk asking to have your probation modified. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well, let's do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start. Are you able to testify on this? All right, so I'm going to start with Director Matthews. And all I need from you at this moment is one thing, which is if I do exactly what you want me to do today, what would I do? What is it you want from me today?
I just need to be able to report over the phone versus actually going into the physical office.
Okay. All right, that lets me know what you're looking for. All right, if you'll fill me in, Director Matthews.
Just for the record, this is a first offender plea. It's a 36-month. She has the option to go into non-report after 12 months. She has to obtain valid driver's license or provide proof of that. She has restitution in the amount of $2,838.46. 6 months of that was due on February the 15th of $1,419.23. She has had 20 hours of community service on this case. She was sentenced on August the 15th of 2023. She's now been on, one second on that date, Judge. $205 days. I became involved in her case in late November. When I became involved, she was currently behind $318. The 20 hours of community service was due in September. That still had not been done in November. Her case was out of compliance. So I made her start reporting in person. Currently, we're requiring her to report once a month in person due to her case being out of compliance. I advised Ms. Ragland once her case was back in compliance, we could look at other alternative ways to report. As of today, she's currently in arrears $338. She's failed to report 2 of 7 scheduled appointments. The restitution that was due to the clerk's office for half by February the 15th of 2024 has not been paid.
Okay. And those are the things that she would need to get organized, or she would need to get completed to be back in compliance, at which point you would be considering e-report.
Of course, yes, sir.
All right, just want to make certain I understand that right. Okay, Ms. Ragland, if you would like to ask any questions of Director Matthews, you can ask her questions if you want. If you want to make a statement, I'll give you a minute later. Do you want to ask Director Matthews any questions? Okay, all right, thank you, Director Matthews. All right, Ms. Ragland, tell me why I should go ahead and do this now instead of waiting until you've satisfied your obligations.
Well, I went and paid my restitution today when I got here, and I also paid I paid $400 on my probation.
Great,
So
okay.
I'm not fine.
So you've checked off 2 of those boxes then as of today. All right, and you understand, I think you've got another restitution payment coming up a couple of months from now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Director Matthews has already said that once you finish those obligations, which you took 2 huge leaps forward into, that they would seriously consider e-reporting. And right now, you're only reporting once a month, is that correct? All right. So I think what I'm going to do is just leave things as they are, because they've already said they're okay with your request once you've done what you're supposed to do. So I don't need to order them to do what they've already said they're considering.
So I had asked her like numerous of times, like, and the woman before her, I forgot her name, my probation officer before her, and I was telling them that there was an issue from the start, like me reporting coming into the office because of my work schedule. And she told me that I had to come to the courthouse to file for a modification, so that's why I had to take time off to do that.
Sure. Well, and I need you to hear me say it. I'm going to say this very gently, but it's going to be really direct. You ready? Hey, the things that are currently out of compliance with your case normally are already a warrant. So normally, you would already be in the Spalding County Jail. But it's clear that you're trying, and so that's why you're not in the jail. But I have a warrant that I haven't signed and I haven't turned in because of the compliance issues in your case. But I'm trying desperately to give you one last inch of space to get your case back on track before in fact, I've signed it. It's just sitting over here. This is it. But I haven't turned it in yet because I want you to get it. But I just needed you to be aware that, like, I would normally have turned this warrant in already. So I'm sorry that this is difficult for you, but they're giving you an avenue of solution. And I knew that because that's the way they handle things. And I also knew that your case was out of compliance. So you hold the solution to this in your hand, which is to do the things that you're already doing to get your case back on track. Because again, they don't want you to lose your job. They don't want you to have your life upended. But frankly, a warrant is way more disruptive than having to report once a month. And that's only until you get your case back on track. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to set this warrant aside and I'm not going to turn it in. And you in return are going to go do what you need to do to get yourself over the e-report finish line. Fair enough?
Okay, so do that mean that I gotta still wait before I can report?
You only need to wait until you've finished the tasks list that they gave you, which again, you've made 2 substantial steps through from what you told me today. So what's your next report date?
It's today.
Oh, today. So report this afternoon and go there right after lunch, go get checked in with them, get the roadmap to what else you need to get done, and get yourself back on track and get yourself over to e-report.
Okay, so
we're
did
great.
she already name what I need to do?
She did, but I honestly didn't make the list in my head, and really I want you to review it in their office when we have more time. So, and whatever you do, do not park behind the building, because I'm just issuing warrants now for everybody. I've been saying for 6 months for people to park by the Janet Bragg parking lot, you know, the big beautiful mural, catty-cornered. So Janet Bragg was the first African-American female commercial pilot in the United States. She's from Griffin. There's a beautiful deep blue mural across from the post office. It's humongous. It covers the whole thing. It's very simple. If you can't see her flying a plane when you park your car, then you're going to go to jail and your car's going to get towed. Because I'm getting complaints from the businesses, and I've been saying for 6 months for everybody to stop parking there. So if you're on probation with me, you should tell everyone you know that I'm done. I signed warrants yesterday, and I'll sign warrants again today. And people are going to keep going to jail until enough people tell enough people that they should do what they agreed to do when they signed up, which is when you signed up, you signed paperwork saying you would park in the Janet Bragg parking lot. And I'm sure this is not you, but you should probably tell 2 people and tell those 2 people and tell 2 people so that I can stop sending people to jail. So, and I hope everybody out in the gallery is listening because I'm done giving warnings and now I just sign warrants. Okay? So look for the big, beautiful mural of Janet Bragg. If you can see her when you park your car, then you're in the right spot. Fair enough? Okay, so when you go there this afternoon, that's where you need to park. Okay, that's it. This motion is denied, but you're still going to get what you want. Go get a list within this afternoon and go get it done.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to make sure because I just don't want to begin to run around because I can't afford to take off work just to schedule modifications because when I talked to her, like if she would have just communicated like this all you gotta do, then you can go to, she made it seem like I could not go to e-reporting at all, like
Right.
without your consent. I understand it, but
Yeah, this was the fly in the ointment, this warrant that I'm holding up.
but it's like it was nothing intentional. It's like by the time I get off, courthouse closed, I can't pay. Like I had the money, it's just I was here today, so I paid it.
Yeah.
So
Well, go ahead and go and get that done today, okay?
okay.
All right, and again, buck stops here, and I'm not worried about it. I'm very confident, once you do what you're supposed to do, they're gonna do what they said they're gonna do.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. This afternoon, 1 o'clock, that's what you want, 1 o'clock. Ms. Leach, if you have that document, give it to the bailiffs.
Sorry.
All right, Ms. Clark, you may come up with your client.
You want us to sit or you want us to?
Yeah, you don't sit there. Okay. All right, this is, I'm so sorry, that was the issue. This is Goggins. There it is, Elisha Maurice Goggins. There's two cases, 23 SR 1682 and 23 TK 3961. I will say for the record that when I do go through the Sentence Enforcement Office from time to time to sign warrants and whatnot, as y'all are well aware, I'm a very active judge and I'm everywhere. When I was there one day, Mr. Goggins approached me and Director Matthews was right there, and he was saying that basically he was very unhappy with the conditions of his current bond and the being supervised. And I said, well, then let's just schedule it for a hearing. I went out, I was actually speaking with the Felony Public Defender's Office. Several minutes later, Mr. Goggins tried to approach me again to speak about it, and I very firmly told him to go away, that I'd already said what I was going to say, and that I was not going to have any additional conversations with him about it. But then I ordered the solicitor's office to place this on because he said he didn't want to do this. And so I said, well, if he doesn't want to do this, then I'm happy to explore other options. And so I just want to say how we got here. We got here because your client spoke to me twice in the Sentence Enforcement parking lot and asked me to put this on. I will say that that's how we ended up here. Okay, y'all talk. Don't let me.
You can turn it off a little bit.
Yeah, just flip the green light off.
If I can just do a brief little
Sure.
opening. Mr. Goggins, I don't know if the court remembers, but this is the case that we were scheduled for a bond hearing while he was in the PDC. And then someone got sick. I don't remember who it was, but we were unable to have a hearing. And we ended up kind of doing a behind the scenes sort of hearing. So Mr. Goggins did not have the privilege of hearing from this court and from us what exactly the conditions of his bond were. When they were communicated to him from our office, he's also on felony probation. And so when they're communicated to him from our office, there was either a miscommunication or he misunderstood and thought he was supposed to report to felony probation. So there was a delay in him reporting to sentence enforcement because he had that confusion. I think he did report though in January as soon as we got that cleared up. He was released December 21st from the PDC. So
I
also
remember I was trying to get
Christmas
him home for Christmas. That is coming.
Yeah.
That's coming back to me.
and Christmas, New Year's kind of delayed that, us being able to talk to him and get that issue cleared up, as well as, I know probation also has a holiday. So I think that kind of explains what happened where he initially didn't report. And then there was some frustration on his part because he didn't totally understand why he was doing it and what was going on. I don't know if you want me to
No, that makes sense.
continue just
That's not
argument, or
information
if
I
you
was
want to
aware
hear
of.
from Director Matthews, or how you want to go from here.
Okay. No, that's good enough. Let me hear from the state, and then we'll kind of figure out where we're at and what the goals are.
So Judge, in this case, Mr. Goggins was granted the bond. It's basically, we call it slang a Fisher bond, where he's overseen by sentence enforcement. That was over the state's objection. This case was originally a felony false imprisonment the felony got reduced down to us. He failed to report within 72 hours. In fact, I had to call Ms. Clark to say, Mr. Goggins needs to go report, to try to head off a bond revocation hearing. Then he did begin reporting. Since he's begun reporting, he's been extremely rude to Ms. Matthews and her staff over and over. And you've already mentioned your interaction with Mr. Goggins, where he just basically said he wasn't going to comply. My issue with this is Mr. Goggins has a serious history. He's born in 1999, and in 2016, he was charged with carrying a weapon at school. 2017, he was charged with possession of a firearm during a felony, drug possession, possession of a pistol under the age of 18. 2017, he was convicted of street gang charges, and also he had another charge on there of theft by receiving of a firearm. So that's 3 firearms charges. 2017, he had a marijuana case that was a conditional discharge. 2018, he was charged with disorderly pointing a gun, weapon without a license, and an ag assault, which he was convicted of that. So that's 4 weapons charges. 2018, he received a new meth possession street gang charge. 2022, he's convicted of a family violence criminal trespass. And then this case was originally a false imprisonment. So we've got 4 or 5 weapons charges, a couple street gang charges, serious drug charges. He's also had several probation revocations. He needs to be in jail. And he was given quite the chance to remain out on bond by the court. And he's just shown he's not going to do it. He just doesn't care. He's rude to everyone. He's got a serious history of violence. He needs to be in jail. This is why we have jails.
Okay. All right, let's hear from Director Matthews. And again, the reason we're here is because he asked for us to be here. So, Director Matthews, you're already under oath. Tell us about your interactions with Mr. Goggins.
So every encounter, other than yesterday, Mr. Goggins has been very hostile with my staff. When he comes in, he's very rude to them. He gets angry with them. When basically my administrative staff up front is just trying to assist him to get him checked in so he can come in and report. My first encounter with him, he basically stated he doesn't understand why his attorneys agreed to these conditions for him, that he's on felony probation, that he's not on misdemeanor probation, so he shouldn't have to come and do this. He shouldn't have to check in with me. He shouldn't have to pay me any money. He shouldn't have to have me oversee anything because he's on felony probation and he did not agree to these terms. I did provide him a copy of the bond agreement, so he had that for his record to see what all he was supposed to be doing. His second encounter with my staff was in reference to money, and he got upset with my staff because they would not tell him why he was having to pay so much money. But my staff, I advised them not to go into the financials up front because they're not trained to appropriately understand it or to be able to give that information out. And that's when I encountered him being rude to my staff, and I walked out after him, and I was like, Mr. Goggins, you can't continue to treat my staff like this on every encounter that you have with my staff. I was like, that's not the way we operate. You just so happen, Judge, to be going out of the steps in that moment. And he then told you, he's like, Judge, I don't want to do these conditions, or I can't comply with these conditions. And that's when you advised me to set the hearing. Mr. Goggins did come in yesterday with a completely different attitude. I did tell him that I would let the court know that. He did advise me that he spoke with Mr. Singleton on Monday. And we just had a very frank conversation today. I advised Mr. Goggins, you're the only case I have on bond. You're the only one that doesn't have to do this. Everyone else does. And I tried to advise him too. I didn't agree to this agreement. I'm just the one sitting here having to deal with him, and he's treating all of us like crap. And so we kind of talked through some of his decisions. He explained he's had frustration in his personal life, which I get. But I was trying to coach him and encourage him not to be rude and disrespectful to people, and also to let him know when he treats people like that, then no one wants to help him. And that's why we're here today. I don't know if Mr. Goggins has truly made a decision to take this serious and be respectful to my staff. I hope that he would. Again, I told him yesterday I could have been rude to him, but I was not, based off the interactions he had with my staff, because it was a new day, and I'm not going to choose to harbor those feelings towards him. But again, I just want him to treat us with respect, because that's what we're going to do to him.
All right. Mr. Shepherd, any questions for Director Matthews?
No, Sir Judge, I think she's covered.
Ms. Clark, any questions across?
Just briefly, but he did report, once he made that initial report, he's always reported when he's been told to report, right?
That's correct.
And he's always paid the money, even though he's complained about it, he's paid it.
He didn't have his payment for yesterday, but we discussed why.
Okay, But he did make at least 2 payments for the other 2 reports and also paid for a drug test, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And passed the drug test?
Yes, ma'am.
And hasn't had any new charges or any other
No, ma'am.
issues? All right. No further questions for Officer Matthews.
And again, what she just testified to, if I were a witness, is what I would testify to, which is that it's the first incidental moment happened literally within 3 feet of me as I was walking out after signing paperwork at Citizen Enforcement. And Mr. Goggins made it very clear at that time that he did not want to do this, and that he wanted to explore other options. So, okay. So I just need to acknowledge that I don't normally have firsthand information, but this is the one where we're here because I have firsthand information, and I said we need to get this into the courtroom because this all needs to be on record somewhere. So, okay. I'm the one who put it on, so I'll just simply say, Mr. Shepherd, do you have any witnesses to call?
No, sir, Judge.
All right. Ms. Clark, do you wish to call any witnesses or have your client testify or anything like that?
Yes, Mr. Goggins wants to speak to the court.
Okay, so what we'll do is you're just gonna stay there, you're gonna use the mic. Obviously, you can't be cross-examined. Mr. Shepherd won't be able to go everywhere he wants to go, but anything you bump into, he'll be able to circle back to. So I trust Ms. Clark will stop you if you wander into unsafe territory. I don't think I swore you in. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, take your hand down. Lean into that mic. It gets really loud if you get close. And state your full name for me.
My name is Elisha Maurice Goggins Jr.
All right, and what's your birth date again, just to make certain I have it right?
05/08/1999.
Okay, and your father senior was born in 78, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
On the day that I had the encounter with you, I think you kind of misunderstood what I was saying. My frustration was about the money. Someone else was funding the money at the time. So
Who was paying for it?
my mother,
And did you want her to pay for it for you?
no, I was trying, well, I did, but I was trying to get my own stuff together because I was just coming home. So when I first had the encounter with Ms. Matthews, I was told that it would be $60 a month. And due to the fact that it was already January and I had to report in February, and when I come in February, brought $120, which I did. She wasn't in the office. That's the same day you came down, and when you was telling us about the parking in the parking lot. So when I gave them the $120, I received a receipt that saying that I was ordered to pay $750. So when I asked her admin about the receipt, no one could give me any answer. So it wasn't that I was mad, I was frustrated. Every time I have came and reported, it was something different. But then when I asked questions, no one has the answer. So when I seen you, well, when me and you was coming out the door together, Miss Matthews stopped us. I guess she had just got back in because I didn't see her that day. So when we came up the stairs and she came outside and she was saying that I was being rude, I wasn't rude. I mean, I wasn't trying to be rude. I just was frustrated. And when you asked me, did I want to do it? I told you, Judge, I would do whatever I need to do to stay out. But the money, I didn't have money at the time. But since then, I have went and got me a job. I've been working full time.
Where are you working?
American Woodmart in Jackson, Georgia.
When do you work?
Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
So it's the overnight shift?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that give you enough money to be able to cover?
Yes, that gives me enough money to be able to cover all my fees or what I have going on in my life right now. I started going to church a little bit, just trying to find God, just trying to change. That's all. I'm getting older. I heard, I think he's the DA. He spoke on my past history, all of those charges when I was a teenager, 18, 19. I'm finna be 25. I got stuff I want to do. Life is bigger than this. So, and I did go in and talk to Ms. Matthews yesterday and I apologized to her. I had because I was wrong, but I was frustrated and I was wrong. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. Shepherd, do you want to cross?
I would have everything to add to the judge. I can't go where I would go with it.
I know, that's why I said it before he testified that unless he wandered off, you didn't get to pull him off. So, Okay, all right, thank you very much, Mr. Coggins. All right, Ms. Clark, anything else?
Judge, I'll just say, I think he started off on the wrong foot for sure, but I think a lot of that came from the confusion and not being able to hear from the court and from us and certainly he was on the PDC at the time too, so we couldn't just call him and explain the whole situation to him. So I think a lot of that comes from that frustration and then getting out of jail and trying to put your life together while you have to. And I mean, $60 a month is a lot of money for somebody who's not employed, and he has to pay felony probation too and try to find a job. He hasn't been able to see his child because of the bond conditions. So there's just a lot going on in his life. And I think he's doing his best, and certainly my understanding is the attitude changed once he really understood what was going on and what he needed to do. So I think that Mr. Goggins is still a good candidate for bond, Judge. I'd ask you to let him stay out on bond and continue along these conditions. If you want, we would agree though, Judge, if you need that we would take an anger management class or something along those lines to sort of help him get even better on a better path, and to kind of so that he has that understanding that there are consequences for being disrespectful to the people at probation. So we would accept that sort of condition if the court wants to impose it.
Yeah, I've already made some notes that I'm interested in that, so. Okay, Mr. Shepherd, anything else?
I don't know why he's not in prison. I mean, he's a convicted gang member. He's been convicted of ag assault, all these firearm charges. I mean, he should not be on the street. He's dangerous. He's proven dangerous. He's been convicted of being dangerous. This is a serious charge that he's on today. He doesn't need a bond. I think he should be in prison. I think he should be in jail at least. He was given a chance to be out on bond, and by his own words, he said he didn't want to comply with it. I just don't see why Ms. Matthews should have to be subjected to this. That's not fair to her, not fair to her office. Mr. Goggins had his chance, and he made his decision, and he communicated that decision to yourself and to Ms. Matthews that he did not want to comply with these bond conditions. So I think we should honor his wishes and just get rid of these bond conditions, just let him go sit in jail. That's where he belongs.
Well, that was certainly something that crossed my mind when I placed this on the calendar, that this was one of my options, was to just go, hey, if it's not gonna work, you just go to jail. I also was aware, and I do need to acknowledge that the way this order came about was not our traditional way to do it. I think it was me that got sick, is what I think happened, and it was a virtual hearing.
Yeah.
This is coming back to me, that he was in the jail, and we were trying to do a virtual hearing, and I got sick, and I'm the only one who can run this jalopy up here. And so I just simply said, what terms do you want? And then I added some, and then I was very clear to put on here in bold at the top that this was over the state's objection. I also put in here that the defendant had leave to request modifications of these conditions, and the court will conduct an evidentiary hearing on a probation and non-jury calendar. So, if he was genuinely upset about those terms, that was already there, and he didn't need that in there, but I made certain that it was very clear that this was not written in stone. This was just us trying to do a courtesy to him so that he could be home for Christmas and New Year's. And so I need you to know, Mr. Goggins, that I'm literally 1 inch off agreeing with Mr. Shepherd. So I just need you to understand how close I am to agreeing with Mr. Shepherd that I'm making the wrong decision here. And I also need you to understand that what I've just done is I've printed the bond order that I issued, and I've written the word amended at the top. I've marked out the date stamp, and I've handwritten some stuff on here. And Director Matthews, you're gonna have all you need moving forward. You ready? So the bond conditions are all the same, except I've added more, which is that I wrote on here, number 13, you shall complete an anger management. And I'm gonna put within, he has a May court date. We have another case here, this 23 TK 3961. It's a ticket, but.
Yeah, it's just a speeding ticket.
I think it's all on for May. So March, April. So I'm gonna make that within 30 days of today. And I've redated the order, March 7th, 2024. So within 30 days, you're gonna complete an anger management and submit to Spalding County Sentence Enforcement, this SCSE on the order. Number 14 is the one I care about the most. You ready? And you listen to me carefully. You shall speak and act respectfully at all times to all court personnel. You shall personally apologize to each and every sentence enforcement team member the next time you report, because I saw it myself. And I was very unhappy with what I was seeing, because I was there, and although that's the first time we talked, that's not the first time I saw you. And so this is not something where I have to take Director Matthews' word for it. I saw it myself. And I get that you were frustrated, but we have a saying down in this court, which is that you can disagree without being disagreeable. We say that a lot down here. And the fact of the matter is that if you're unhappy with these terms, you had an avenue to disagree. You had an avenue to ask me to change it. I already said I would consider it. And instead, you chose to argue. And then you approached me again, which you and I both knew was not appropriate out in the parking lot to talk to me about the case. So don't do that again. Here's the deal. Moving forward, if I get any hint of any allegations of, frankly, even as small as acting not respectfully, I literally wrote on here, I will issue a warrant first and deal with it later at the jail. Those are literally the words at the bottom of my new warrant. So if I get any information at all, because obviously they got to do ex parte to come to me to get the warrant, I'm going to issue the warrant first. You're going to go to the jail, and then I'm going to go see you at the jail, and we'll sort it out then. You obviously have a good job. You have a lot riding on it, but I will not tolerate anybody acting in that way in that office, because I'll go ahead and tell you right now, it is disruptive to the orderly operations of that office. And I will not tolerate anything that disrupts the orderly operations of that office. And frankly, it's not fair to that team. They've got thick skin, but it's not their job to take your verbal abuse. And I won't tolerate it, and I put a whole lot of people in jail for a whole lot less. So I'm just making certain that you clearly hear me say, I'm done. And you are going to decide which chess piece moves next. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You are in charge of your destiny, and whatever happens next is your business. And again, I am literally 1 inch from Mr. Shepard, and it will take literally you popping off at the mouth to Director Matthews or one of her team members. I'm going to issue the warrant, and then I don't have to worry about it. So that's it. Mr. Shepard, your objection to this amended order is already noted for the record.
Thank you.
And if anyone has any information about any violations of these, bring them to my attention. I will issue the warrant immediately, and then we will very quickly schedule for a hearing. I hope we don't have to. I want you to succeed. I want you to go. I want you to get this job. I want you to flee this gang lifestyle and the weapons charges and the violence. I want you to have a life. But only you will choose that. And if you choose that, we will be there to support you. But if you don't, I know exactly what I need to do, and I will not hesitate to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
When's his next check-in date?
I did not provide him one, pending the
Yes.
day.
Do you want to pick one, or do you want me to tell him?
He can do April 3rd,
Okay, so I'm gonna write on here, report April 3rd.
but you need to get the anger management stuff before then.
Okay.
All right, so you can go ahead and start on that. There's a list on the website, on the Spalding County Sentence Enforcement website for the anger management approved places. You have great lawyers. You need to listen to what they're telling you to do, and you need to do it. So I just don't know how to say that any more clearly. Your lawyers talked me into signing this to the state's objection without a hearing. And if you don't do what they're telling you to do, then you don't understand the limb I went out on to do this for you, and the fact that I won't hesitate to chop this limb off with a chainsaw and half of it. So, and I'll follow with you, because I'll have to say I should have granted this order. And don't make me say that. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, if anybody receives any hints, rumors, or innuendos about any violations, bring them to me immediately. I'll sign a warrant for us just right that second. He needs to sign this anywhere, just acknowledging that and he can write on there, of course, it's the form.
This is
Like I said, I wrote all over it, and I'm sorry, my handwriting is terrible. Everyone knows that. So he can just initial it, I don't care. Kathy, please do a transcript of this.
Oh, that's perfect.
Judge, I just wanna put, like, it's not a consent thing, so we're.
Oh, yeah, mark it up. It just
No,
says,
I just mean, like, if the initials it, I don't, well, whatever, it doesn't matter.
yeah, if it says consent anywhere, mark it up.
No, it doesn't.
Because at this point, it's not.
I just don't want the initials to be interpreted as that, but I don't think it really matters.
Well, you're welcome to put initials as form only. That'll protect you.
Do you want me to sign it as well, Judge?
Or just initial. All right, Erica, if you'll stamp that back there, I marked out the thing. Okay, does anybody else need anything else from me on this? Go, don't make me regret this decision, okay? I want you to succeed, but I will not hesitate to push back. All right, Ms. Clark, these are yours.
Thank you, Judge.
And the bailiffs will give you copies if you'll wait out in the hallway out there. All right, Mr. Kendall, you'll come on up. Yeah. Ms. Carter, is that all right? You'll come step over here to the microphone. And this is a walk-in, I think it's on the drop count.
This page one on yesterday's.
Okay, if you will please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, take your hand down and say your full name for me.
Nikita Latrell Carter.
Ms. Carter, you're here today on 22 SR 1481, which is on our trial calendar. You're here with your attorney, Mr. Mike Kendall. Mr. Kendall has passed up to me this attorney and defendant plea rights waiver. Do you recognize this document that I'm holding up?
I do.
Are these your initials next to each of the lines on page 1,
Yes, sir.
page 2?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign and initial this document after having all the time that you needed to review it
Yes, sir.
and to ask your attorney any questions you have about it,
I did.
and because you understood everything that's on it?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Carter, have you had all the time that you need to speak with your attorney about all aspects of your case?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the job Mr. Kendall's done on your behalf?
I am.
Do you understand that you have the right to a jury trial on your case?
Yes, sir.
And that by entering this plea, that you will close your case and there will be no probation? I mean, sorry, that you'll be closing your case and that there'll be no jury trial?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Kendall, do you stipulate that there's a factual basis for me to accept this disorderly conduct plea from June 11th, 2022 here in Spalding County?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you wish to enter a guilty plea to that disorderly conduct charge?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna find with Mr. Kendall's stipulations of factual basis combined with your request to enter a guilty plea on this charge, that there's enough for me to take a plea. I'm gonna find that you're knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waiving your rights to enter this plea. I've reviewed the recommendation and I'm gonna follow it exactly the way it's been negotiated. Do you have any questions for me? I'm sorry, Mr. Kendall, do you have anything you wish to add before I sentence?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Carter, do you have any questions for me about anything before I sentence?
I don't know. He told me that it could be possibly probation. And the only thing would be just, I need to know the times so I can stay in compliance because I do work for the city of Atlanta. I don't get off until 5. And so that is a concern to me about reporting. And if I complete in a timely manner, can I go to non-report to be able to offset trying to get down from Atlanta with that traffic?
All right, so I just did one thing, which is that I just put that you're on e-report as long as you're in compliance. That'll save you a little bit. They'll still have you come down every now and then.
Yes, sir.
But that'll save that. And you're already set to go to non-report once 6 months have passed. No violations have occurred and all conditions have been met.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's a good question. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. You ready for me to sentence?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Carter, on 22 SR 1481, disorderly conduct, I'm gonna find you guilty. It's 12 months probation, 590 is your fine. Count 2 is dismissed. You can work off your fine with community service work if you wish. You'll need to show your valid license to sentence enforcement. No alcohol, illegal drugs, or hemp products should be tested for those. Fourth Amendment waiver, $50 per month supervision fee, $25 intake fee. This is consecutive to any current sentence. You may go on e-report after your orientation, and then you'll go to non-report once 6 months have passed, no violations have occurred, and all conditions have been met. You will also have no contact whatsoever with Adacia Barkley. You have 30 days from today if you wish to appeal this decision, and you have 12 months from today if you wish to use your habeas rights.
Judge, I think that's no violent contact.
I'm so sorry, did I say no contact? I'm so sorry, it says no violent contact. I was trying to do two things at the same time and I did both of them badly. So it says no violent contact for this part. So as long as y'all are peaceful, you may have contact with each other. Do you have any questions for me about anything, ma'am?
If you pay the $590, do I just still have to pay the $50 for the 12 months?
Well, as soon as you get to the non-report, there's no more supervision fees. So the non-report stops the supervision fee. So it would be for the 6 months that we are actively supervising you,
Yes,
even
sir.
if it's in report.
Yes, sir.
That's a good question. You asked great questions. Do you have any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, very good questions. I will point out that where I keep getting grumpy about the Janet Bragg parking lot is right here on the front of your probation form. And you have not initialed it yet, so I'm just being very careful to say, my initials confirm that I was informed only to park in the Janet Bragg parking lot on the southwest corner of the intersection of West Solomon Street and South 8th Street. Otherwise, I may be violated for failing to report as directed, because I'm receiving so many complaints from the businesses around there that there's no parking for their clients or for their customers. The people are parking in the employee lot, and I'm getting complaints from the other tenants in the building. So it's a big, beautiful mural of Janet. Just park where you can see the big, beautiful mural of Janet. Because you're gonna have to go at least once.
I know, but I'm not really familiar with the location of the probation.
Well, if you leave here and drive that way and then look in your rearview mirror, you'll see a huge, beautiful mural of Janet Bragg across from the post office.
Parking that parking lot.
So go past the parking deck, go 2 more blocks.
Okay.
So their office is in the old post office. But as soon as you see the new post office on your right, the Janet Bragg parking lot's on your left.
Yes, sir.
So, but again, I've just had to go to warrants. I told everybody for 6 months, stop parking there. Finally, I just had to start issuing warrants.
Yes, sir.
So.
Stop parking where?
Janet Bragg parking lot, so across from the post office.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but people were parking where?
Everywhere.
The street.
They were parking in the street, they were blocking cars, they were blocking driveways, they were parking in the employee lot. It was like.
The probation office is in the old post office.
Old post office. And so what I want you to do is park in the Janet Bragg parking lot.
Okay, walk
Across the street. I mean, it's literally just catty corner to the building.
It's Griffin. Everybody got to park right in front of you.
I know that. And when they do that, they're welcome to it, but I'm gonna issue a warrant. So, okay, so that's what's going on, is I can't, talking to my tribe didn't work, so I just started putting people in jail. So, okay, so if you'll just have a seat, Director Matthews will come talk to you just a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Leach, if you'll come back up.
Mike, if you'll touch base with me, touch base with me middle of next week about Butler, I'll let you know. I don't anticipate that being the case.
Okay.
I gotta make that.
Bring the mic down to you.
Thanks.
This is Mary Leach. All right, Ms. Leach, good news, you did have a suspension detail report in your records and you passed it up to me. And so here's what I'm looking for. So you have passed up to me several documents that seem to indicate that you have satisfied several of these obligations that are on this list. But this report doesn't currently say requirement met. So what I want you to do is go back to the Department of Driver Services and run this report again. And what I need you to bring me is a version of this report where it says, number 1, number 2, number 3, that these are all met. requirement met.
Okay.
And if the only thing left on there is this ignition and interlock device that says not met, then I will grant your request. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And I think you can do that, so just come back next Thursday with that report in
I'm not gonna
hand.
be in town.
Do what?
I'm not gonna be in town.
Okay, when are you leaving town?
Tomorrow.
Well, then come back tomorrow morning.
I'm leaving at 4 tomorrow morning.
Okay, well then, when you get back into town,
A month from now.
yeah, and I will bring that, and I will, if it says what I just said, it will say, I will grant that request.
May I go out there and talk with him today?
Sure.
And then hand it to her? And
So, yeah, if you want to drop it by, that'd be fine, because I'm gonna e-file it anyway. Do we have your email address, Ms. Leach?
I've given it, but I'll give it again.
Let me find it, Keisha.
It's 23 SR 0536.
23SR0356.
0536.
This call is about to make me lose my mind. Yep, there it is. Yes, we have your email. Cindy, CYNDI.
No. Sorry, that's not correct.
I'll tell you what, Dale's gonna give you a notepad, and you're just gonna fill it out in your best grade school handwriting.
Yes, sir.
All of your information, full name, date of birth, social security, all that. None of that will be shown publicly, but we'll use it to enter it all into here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and like I said, if you drop that back by and I see it, I'll e-file the order, and it'll be in your email address.
Thank you very
We
much.
see it right here. Thank you very much. All right, that's it. Court's adjourned. Great job, everybody.
Okay.
Accountability court this afternoon at 1:30, and
Okay.
Snapchat hearing tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Email, that'll be fine.